share with the world on my show for the past 21 years. The message is that you're really responsible for your life. You are responsible for your life. I've known this. I've known this since The Color Purple. In 1985, I've probably told you the story when I did The Color Purple, but in 1985, I did The Color Purple. Prior to that, I had read the book, Larry. Now, this is when I got The Secret thing, but I didn't know it was called The Secret. I read the book, The Color Purple, and then went out and got books for everybody else I knew. And I was obsessed about this story, obsessed about it. I ate, slept, thought all the time about The Color Purple. I moved to Chicago. I get a call from a casting agent asking, would I like to come and audition for a movie? I've never gotten a call in my life from anybody for a movie or anything like that. And I say, is it The Color Purple? And he says, no, it's a movie called Moonsong. And I go, well, I've been praying for The Color Purple. And I go to the audition, and of course it was The Color Purple. I audition. I don't hear anything for months. And I go to this fat farm, and I think it's because I'm fat, because I was about 212 pounds at the time. And I think I didn't get the call back because I'm so fat. And I'm at this fat farm, and I'm praying and crying, saying to God, help me let this go. Because I wanted to be in this movie so much. I wanted it, I wanted it, I wanted it. I thought I was going to be in the movie. There's all these signs that I should be in the movie. And I go to this fat farm, and I'm praying and crying. And as I'm on the track singing this song, I surrender I surrender all to thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. I'm singing that song, praying and crying. A woman comes out to me, and she says, on the track, it's raining, and she says, there's a phone call for you. And the phone call was Steven Spielberg saying, I want to see you in my office in California tomorrow. Now, what I learned from that, that moment absolutely changed my life forever, because I had drawn The Color Purple into my life. I didn't know Steven Spielberg. I didn't know Quincy Jones, who saw me in Chicago. In 1984, he was there for a lawsuit that was being filed against Michael Jackson because he'd been working on his Thriller album. And he saw me on AM Chicago and said, that's Sophia. Now, I didn't know him. I didn't know anybody that had anything to do with that. But I knew that I had drawn that into my life, and it changed the way I thought about my life forever.
So you're not surprised at the success of The Secret?
I'm thrilled for the success of The Secret. I think that the message needs to go further, because I think the mistake that was made with The Secret is that they tried to, don't know who they are, that they tried to let that be the answer to all questions. It's not it's just one law. The law of attraction is one law. There are many laws working in the world. But it is very true that the way you think creates reality for yourself. There are other factors going on. So it's not everything, but you really can change your own reality based on the way that you think. It is the secret to creating the life you truly want. Make more money, lose weight, fall in love, land your dream job. Isn't that amazing? This is life-changing.
I'm ready for that, yeah.
Okay, now the choir's going. Jump in, anybody. Find out the secret and see why people everywhere are talking about it. When I heard that for the first time, my eyes watered. Be next. Have you heard about it? This is the secret. In the past few months, talk about this DVD has been spreading around the world. We've heard from people in Europe, in Canada, all the way down under in Australia. I have to tell you, in one day, 6 people told me about this DVD. I mean, and I hadn't heard about it when the first person told me. By the time the 6th person told me, I go, okay, I'm going to go home, I'm going to watch it tonight. My guests today believe that once you discover the secret, that you can immediately start creating the life you want, whether it's getting out of debt, whether it's finding a more fulfilling job, even falling in love. They say you can have it all, and in fact, you already hold the power to make that happen. Here's how a woman from Australia stumbled upon what she calls the secret.
I discovered The Secret towards the end of 2004, and it was truly the worst time of my life. Everything in my life, just emotionally, physically, financially, everything had fallen apart. My father died suddenly. My mother was just completely grief-stricken. She really didn't want to live. I felt so powerless to help her. I wept and wept and wept, and I didn't want my daughter to see me sobbing. I was just in total despair. And she asked me what was wrong, and I said this and this and this, and she just said, oh, it'll be okay. And then she got a book, and she said, here, Mum, read this. That book was The Science of Getting Rich, written by Wallace Wattles in 1910. Something inside of me had me turn the pages one by one, and I can still remember my tears hitting the pages as I was reading it. It gave me a glimpse of the secret. It was like a flame lit inside of my heart. And with every day since, it's just become a raging fire of wanting to share all of this with the world. I read hundreds of books. I listened to hundreds of hours of audio. I was on the internet in 2.5 weeks. I had traced the secret back through history. Since I discovered the secret, every single moment of my entire life has changed, and I am living my life for the first time.
Which is so fascinating, because when I watched The Secret, I realized I've always lived by The Secret. I didn't know it was a secret. I didn't know it was a secret. Why do you call it The Secret?
We really needed to contain the knowledge in a couple of words. And the secret is the law of attraction.
Okay, so what do you mean by that?
The law of attraction I would describe as the most powerful law in the universe. And it is the law by which we are creating our lives. So whether we realize it or not, the law of attraction is working all of the time. Now, clearly, if you don't know what the law does, then you may not be creating the life you want. Law of attraction says that like attracts like, and what we do is we attract into our lives the things that we want, and that is based on what we're thinking and feeling. Okay. It's not the other way around.
So what you're saying is that we all, human beings here on Earth, create our own reality.
We do.
We create our own circumstances.
Yes.
We create our own circumstances by the choices that we make.
Yes.
And the choices that we make are fueled by our thoughts. So our thoughts are the most powerful thing that we have here on Earth. And based upon what we think, and we think determines who we are, we attract who we are into our lives. That's what you're saying.
That's exactly right.
Okay, I got that. Rhonda produced the Secret DVD in just weeks, and she featured experts who not only teach this law of attraction that they call the secret, but say that their phenomenal success is because they know the secret. Chicken Soup for the Soul creator Jack Canfield was deep in debt the year before he made it big. Now his best-selling books have sold over 100 million copies worldwide. Jack travels the country teaching the secret of his success.
I'm living in my passion.
Lisa Nichols grew up on the tough streets of South Central Los Angeles. At age 19, after hitting rock bottom, Lisa prayed for a better life. Today, Lisa's made her fortune, motivating more than 60,000 teens to make better choices with their lives. James Arthur Ray grew up as an insecure and awkward teen. In his 20s, weightlifting helped this self-described geek gain confidence. James says surviving a near-fatal motorcycle crash and almost going bankrupt forced him to focus on the life he truly wanted. Now he runs a multi-million-dollar corporation dedicated to teaching people how to create wealth in all areas of their lives. In college, Dr. Michael Beckwith says he got rich by selling drugs. That career ended on the day he was arrested in a deal gone bad. During his trial, Michael says he had a spiritual awakening and made the decision to turn things around. Today, he leads the Agape Spiritual Center in Los Angeles, where he teaches thousands of faithful followers the path to reaching their highest potential. So, welcome our panel to the show. This is one of the... This is a happy, happy day for me, because all my life I wanted to be a teacher, and I've known the secret, I didn't call it the secret, for years, and for years on this show, this is what I've been trying to do, is to get people to see it through different ways, manifested through the lives of other people, being able to set examples for people. So this is really exciting that these teachers are here today to share it. I know you know and believe that we all have our own magnetic power, just like Glinda the Good Witch said in The Wizard of Oz, you've always had it, my dear.
No, it's true. You said it earlier, the thoughts we think, the images we hold, the things we focus on, what we give our attention to, the books we read, the magazines, all of that affects how we feel. And the feelings actually send out a wave into the universe, and anything that's vibrating in a similar level gets attracted into our life. So if we have a goal or a vision and we focus on that rather than what we focus on, see, most people focus on how it is. We talk about our current reality. I'm in debt, I'm overweight, I'm not happy, I'm sad, the world's not working, we're at war, whatever. And the more you focus on that and talk about it, the more you attract that.
Because there's a law in the universe that says what you focus on expands.
Exactly.
What you give your attention to gets bigger.
Exactly.
Right.
It's not the thoughts, Oprah, it's the feeling that the thought generates. It's the feeling. And so you've got to create the feeling.
You know, there's one more piece of that. Jack's absolutely correct. I call it going 3 for 3. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions all have to be firing simultaneously in the same direction. If you look at anybody who's not achieving what they desire and deserve in their life, you'll notice that one of those 3 is missing. They're maybe thinking and
your
feeling.
Thoughts, your feelings, and your actions.
That's 3 for 3. And you know, a lot of people say, well, they watch The Secret and they say, well, I'm sitting around visualizing my millions coming into my lap. Well, they'll come take your furniture away, you know.
While you're visualizing.
Exactly. And then how are you going to visualize on the curb?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, so you've got to feel it, and you've got to act upon it.
Yeah.
Make decisions based upon where you're going versus where you are.
But I wanted to go back to that initial thought that you were telling us about how you send things out, your thoughts go out into the universe, and there's a vibration. You first have to explain how we really are all just energy. We're all... Can you explain that?
Yeah, basically everything's energy. If you go to quantum physics, we realize everything is energy, and what controls the flow of energy is thought and feeling.
Okay.
It's a vibration. So we know, for example, if I'm sending out an email to everyone on the planet, it says, hey, by the way, I'm starting a school to do this, like your Leadership Academy. If you're interested, come on board. And all of a sudden, the people, the resources, the ideas, the strategies start appearing in your life and become magnetized toward you. We think of it as a coincidence, but we start having all these
Because there's no
effects.
such thing as a coincidence.
Exactly.
There's not.
Yeah.
There's not. Everything happens by principles and laws in our universe. And so consequently, again, we have an absolutely unlimited power within us, and it's really an exciting time, Oprah, because it's a time where spiritual traditions and science are now in total agreement.
Yeah. I think this is so exciting because, as I said, I've been talking about this in one form or another since 1785 on this show.
Of course you have.
And when I heard about The Secret, I watched The Secret, it was so exciting because I thought, now it's sort of reached mass appeal, right, Michael?
Finally getting out to the world. We've been teaching this for 20 or 30 years, each and every one of us, all with the awareness that a thought is a unit of mental energy that can now be measured scientifically. And those thoughts have a tendency to transmute themselves into experience, speech, behavior, and the effects of your life. Now, those thoughts ultimately become, as Jack was saying, the feeling tone of your life. So an individual and of harmony, and the universe will begin to match that feeling tone, and what will flow into your life will match the feeling that you're holding. It's scientific, it's real, and it means that everyone in this audience and everyone that's listening can release themselves from being a victim and begin to take control of their life's destiny.
Well, this is what's so amazing. You know, for years on this show, I encourage people to do gratitude journals because I say, you know, what we were talking about earlier, what you focus on expands. But I heard you phrase gratitude in a way that I'd never heard it before. You said...
Well, basically, nothing new can come into your life unless you open yourself up to being grateful.
Doesn't the little hairs on your head?
Right.
I mean,
When
you
I
think about
heard
it,
that, Michael, the first time, my eyes watered because I thought just the way you phrased that, it connected. So nothing new can come into your life unless you're grateful for what you already have.
Think about it.
Powerful magnetic force in the universe.
Isn't that amazing? I think that is an amazing thing.
If I can add to that, in the moment that we're dealing with weight, family, friends, that instead of wanting to change it, appreciate what's there.
Yeah.
Find the things about it that works. Find the things that infuse you. Everything. And by doing that, you create a space for it to get better. You know, we look at better as if something's wrong with now.
Yeah.
Do you know,
I was just saying that to a friend last night. You need to relax and be with it.
Be with it now.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
I got to go to commercial. I love the Secret DVD because there never was a commercial. But on this show, there's a commercial. More about the secret to living the greatest life possible for you when we come back. Coming up, can the secret get you out of debt? Stay tuned. All of my guests today say they have uncovered the secret to bringing love, to bringing happiness, even wealth into anybody's life. The secret is the law of attraction. It's a DVD everybody's talking about. I'm sure somebody's mentioned it to you. It means that everything that happens to you, good and bad, you are attracting to yourself. It's something that I really have believed in for years, that the energy you put out into the world is always going to be coming back to you. That's the basic principle, is it not? Yes, Lisa?
It's like if you were at a restaurant and you ordered something. You fully expect it to come served that way.
Yes.
That's how the universe, you're putting out orders consciously and unconsciously.
Yes.
And expect it to come back. So if you're saying, I'll never have a great relationship, you just place an order. You just place an order.
Your wish is my command.
Right, you just place an order. If you just said, oh, I have the craziest family full of drama, you just place an order.
Yeah.
You place an order. And so look at it as if you're placing an order, as if you're at a restaurant. What do you want?
Okay, so let's talk about the conscious and unconscious, because most people are placing unconscious orders. Is that not true?
Right. Absolutely. Most of the fears, doubts, and worries, they're unconscious. People aren't walking around thinking, I want a bad thing to happen to me.
Yeah.
But there's an unconscious fear, there's a doubt, there's a worry, there's a sense of separation there that's running them. Spiritual growth, or coming into this kind of awareness, is allowing that which is unconscious to become conscious.
Can you explain what spiritual growth is? Because a lot of people, as you know, many years ago I did a segment called Remembering Your Spirit, and I was challenged and talked about and ridiculed because people thought I was trying to tell them how to be religious.
Right.
So can you define what
We're not speaking about religiosity.
We're not talking
about religion. We're talking about our
religion.
real identity, which is a spiritual being.
Which is energy.
And we're here to unfold, to become more aware of that and allow that energy to be released. The love, the peace, the joy, the wisdom, the harmony, these are all qualities of the spirit that is seeking to express through us. And so as we become more awake, more aware of that, our life is filled with that kind of vibration, that kind of feeling tone. So to grow spiritually is to actually become more aware of who you really are.
Yeah, it's to become more of yourself.
To become more of yourself.
More of yourself. Rhonda, when you first started to put together this idea of The Secret, were you reading all of their works? Were you engaged with what
I actually wish it had been that easy. But actually, they came to me. I mean, in creating The Secret, the team of The Secret, we live The Secret every single day. And the reason that The Secret is touching hearts all around the world.
Because it's a book and a DVD.
Is because the intention of The Secret was to bring joy to the world. Yeah. And we felt that with all of our hearts every single day.
So I know that many of you watching right now may be thinking it's impossible to solve your problems by using The Secret. Ryan doesn't know how to begin to turn things around in her life. So take a look.
My name is Ryan Bell, and I am a single mother of an amazing 4-year-old little girl. I'm currently in $43,000 worth of debt. I'm just in over my head. When I was in college, I wasn't very smart with my money. I took out loans when I probably didn't really need to. After college, I got a job and got pregnant, got married, and we were middle class, working as hard as we could. We had a new baby, and bills started coming in, and so did credit cards, and we just started opening credit cards to solve problems.
Ryan says her debt situation got even worse after her divorce.
I went from living on 2 incomes to living on 1 income, but I kept the same bills.
Ryan works long hours at a high-end clothing store to support her daughter and herself. After she puts her daughter to bed, Ryan then begins her second job, a home-based internet business.
It could be huge, but I can't spend the amount of time on it that I need to make it successful. I'm sick and tired of being a victim. How do I get out of this endless cycle of debt?
I think this is so exciting, Ryan. You know why? Because I know every time I've ever done these kinds of shows, people say, this can't work for me, or I tried to do that, but I'm, $8,000 in debt or $20,000 in debt. I would say for everybody who's listening, look at Ryan. Ryan, you look at yourself and look at how this principle of the law of attraction has already worked in your life, because it works both positive and negative.
Right.
So if you look at your life, you will see how all of your choices have attracted this debt to you. Is that not correct?
Yes, absolutely. I think one of the things that I would recommend really is don't focus on getting out of debt, because the key word in that sentence is debt. So all your focus is on your debt. Focus on what your life would look like when you were out of debt and you're in financial freedom, as James says. And then write a description in great detail. Everything that would be happening, your business flourishing, being able to take your kids everywhere and have all the things you want, and being able to buy the things you want. So always focus on where you're going and have an image. And every morning, close your eyes and visualize that life. Feel the feeling you'd have if you were already financially free. And that's just the beginning to get you started and out of this focusing on the debt.
Yes, because I think everybody who is in debt or has ever been in debt, you're always thinking about, I always say this to people, go, Lord, if I can just make it to the end of the week.
Right.
And you know what? You do. Just make it to the end of the week.
Or when you have that language, how are you doing? I'm hanging in there.
I'm hanging in there.
How are you doing? I'm surviving.
Yeah.
That's not the kind of life you want to live.
Yeah.
So, you know, when people ask me, how are you doing? I'm phenomenal. I'm great. Even in the midst of all, I'm great. I get to be here to feel what's going on. I'm great because I've made it through.
Let me add one more thing, Ryan. First of all, I totally understand where you are. I've teetered on the edge of bankruptcy twice because I'm a slow learner.
Right.
Okay? So I know exactly where you are. Here's the other piece to play off of what Jack was saying. Put in plan a debt retirement program. Whatever you can do, put it in place and once it's in place, just make it automatic. Get payroll withdrawal or automatic deduction, whatever it is, so you don't have to think about it. Any creditor will work with you if you're doing something. So get that out of your awareness and then focus your total attention and energy and action upon creation of financial freedom. Look at what you have to put towards your debt, and then say, okay, I can afford to pay $200 a month, whatever it is, and put that in place automatically. So you don't have to always sit down and ponder over these bills and go, oh my God, how am I going to make these happen?
Do you get that? Yeah. So you're not worried about what am I going to do, what am I going to do. You've already made a decision that I'm going to take 200 or 100 or whatever it is, and that's going to go to the debt. So you're not focused on that.
Right.
You're focused on how you now can create more financial freedom for yourself. Because what you focus on expands. It gets bigger all the time.
Let me add one other piece to that. He's giving you the action step. Now, debt is a function of unforgiveness. You're saying to the universe, somebody owes me something, or I don't have. Now, whenever you examine unforgiveness, you think somebody's owing you something, even if it's intangible, like an apology or something. When you forgive, so you use your power of visualization. And I know in your situation, you want to forgive your former husband for leaving you with some of this debt. You see him in front of you. You forgive him. You let him know in consciousness, in your awareness, that he cannot determine your destiny. You're not leaving him unaccountable, but you're severing those emotional and vibratory tonalities so that you can be free. When you're free inside, you do the action plan that James talked about. You make a focus, and like Jack talked about, and you see the universe rush to where you are in ways that you can't even see right now to bring you into financial freedom.
If I can just add this, you deserve right now to feel good. Just based on what you've come through and based on what you are going to. You deserve right now to feel your best as a woman, as a mother, as a survivor, as a thriver. So you claim that now, sweetheart. Claim it now. That's your birthright.
We'll be right back. Hallelujah. Okay, James, I just love what you just said during the commercial break. I hadn't heard that before. What did you just say?
Thank you for giving me that experience. It's true forgiveness. When you can get to that point where you could truly say that.
And
I've been here since 1875. I hadn't heard it put that way. Pretty good. So true forgiveness. I'd heard a definition that I loved years ago. Someone here had said that true forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could have been different. Could have been different. You release that. But true forgiveness, you're saying.
Yeah, you say, I don't want it to be different because there's so many gifts that came out of that.
True forgiveness is
Thank you for giving me that experience.
Thank you for giving me that experience.
You have to rise to a new level of strength in yourself. That's a gift.
What would your life have been if you
How
hadn't
can
gone
you
through all
do that, though, if it's some terrible thing that has happened to you?
Because
What? Okay, now the choir's going. Hello. How can you do that if if somebody did some terrible thing to you.
Every single thing has a gift hidden in it. It's just in work clothes sometimes. But if you'll dig, if you're really willing to dig, there's something in, there's a lesson in there. I wasn't present, or whatever. You know, I wasn't paying attention. How does this serve me, and what can I learn from this situation?
And if you look at it in the context that every experience I've had has helped to make me who I am.
Yeah, I do.
And I love her.
Yeah.
Then those things become okay. You know, I mean, I have a past.
So I thank my jerk husband.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or being a jerk, because it taught me how to be more of
how to
myself.
set my boundaries.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
It taught me
How to set my boundaries.
I became more disciplined. I became more self-reliant. I became more independent.
I got to see myself for who I really am.
Yes.
Even when you're in the midst of a terrible situation and it's chronic, it doesn't seem to end.
Yeah.
You ask yourself the question, if this were to last forever, what quality would I have to grow to have peace of mind?
Well, you know what I've learned to do? I've learned to ask the crises, when we're right in the center of it, to ask it, what is it here to teach me?
That's another way of saying the same thing.
What are you here to teach me?
Absolutely.
So that I can get whatever the lesson is and get out of this and move on. Okay, author Lisa Nichols, a member of our secret panel, says that for years before discovering The Secret, her life was spiraling out of control, like many of you watching.
I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. In my community, there were gangs. There was a lot of poverty, a lot of struggle, and a lot of violence. In 5th grade, I was the first class of bus students to the Valley. And I thought I'd be greeted with, welcome to the Valley. But it wasn't that way. I was called blackie, nigger. I was told that God left me in the toaster too long. I remember walking away thinking, man, God made a mistake on me. And my self-esteem went way down. I always told you, you're not pretty, so you won't get love. So as I grew up, I had a lot of sex looking for a little love. I looked for my own validation and my love in the arms of men. The sex led to a lot of pain. I thought if I was saying no to the sex, I was saying no to potential love. And I didn't want to say no to love. So I began to gain weight as a way to not get the invitations. It got out of hand and I gained over 100 pounds. And then I was obese and embarrassed.
Wow, I've never heard that articulated that way. I've never heard it articulated that way. Beautiful, Lisa.
Thank you.
So what was your turning point?
I got on my knees and I said, God, if you bring me through this, I promise I will spend every moment, every breath supporting, encouraging others to do the same. You know,
and now you know.
Now I know that until I fall in love with me, and when I'm madly in love with me, and not in a braggadocious way, and not
narcissistic
in a
way,
right, but I fully love me. That I'm the example. I'm the first example how the world's supposed to love me, and I have to give them the best example ever.
Yeah. And that is because you teach people how to treat you.
Yes,
you teach
I'm their
people.
example,
Yeah,
and I can't expect people to treat me better than I'm treating myself. It's unrealistic and it's unfair.
Yeah.
And we do it all the time. We expect someone to show us our greatness. When I'm supposed to show up understanding my greatness and allowing you to celebrate it with me.
Yeah. And I think our culture has confused greatness with bling.
Right.
Greatness
Absolutely.
with things.
Right.
Have we not?
Right.
Yes, success and celebrity aren't the same thing. Success and greatness is a constant unfolding of your soul, constant unfolding of releasing the gifts, the talents, and the capacities that are within you, progressing, moving forward. It doesn't matter whether anyone knows about you or not. If you're living the gifts and the talents that are within you, you're successful.
We're talking about The Secret. We'll be right back. After 16 years of marriage, Carlton and Beverly Cradell say the passion in their marriage had fizzled. I know many of you can relate to this.
It just felt as though our life was just mundane, really passionless, almost emotionless. It's like I didn't have his mind anymore, his soul. I didn't have his heart.
We were basically coexisting like college roommates.
Beverly's journal entry said it all.
November 20th, 2004. Today marked an anniversary for me and my husband. No, it wasn't my wedding anniversary. Today made exactly 1 year since my husband and I have been intimate. My self-talk was, He doesn't want me.
Then, 6 months ago, Beverly watched The Secret and began to see things different.
I took a look at what it is about my husband that I was grateful for instead of looking at the things that I was starting to resent. He cooks for me, he cleans, he loves spending time with our children. I started telling myself, I am beautiful. I do deserve passion. I am in a passion-filled marriage.
Beverly asked her husband to watch the video.
After watching The Secret, that's when things just totally changed. And the change started within myself.
Soon Carlton was making romantic gestures, taking Beverly out for lunch dates and calling her during the day.
Some of the things I started to focus on were doing the little things, like putting a rose in his car with a little ribbon on it and a card attached, and surprising him with a package of some of his favorite cookies, you know, leaving him money for that first cup of coffee.
My marriage now is wonderful. I feel the passion. I'm loving it.
The passion is back. No, yay! I'm so happy.
Okay. And so, so you watched the video one time?
For the record, I've seen it 62 times. but after the first time is when that light bulb went off, and I was like, oh my God.
The first time the light bulb went off for you?
The first time the light bulb went off.
I thought there was something you said in there that really struck me. You said it changed the way I saw things.
Yes.
And so, was it immediate for you?
Yes, it was.
Immediate.
Right after we turned it off.
And you said what?
The new aphrodisiac. Watch The Secret.
I think the big click for you was you realized you were part of the problem.
Oh, I was definitely a big part of the problem.
As though you were complaining and no more passion and he's not doing it. Oh
Actually, it was basically my thoughts and my feeling. Because for years I kept saying, I know he loves me, but it doesn't feel like he's in love with me. And it just seemed like over the years that feeling just got bigger and bigger. You know, we went from 2 months to 6 months to a year. And it just got bigger and bigger.
And so it changed because you started focusing on what was there.
Right. I learned to be grateful. Have that attitude of gratitude. Because I looked at
because say that again, Michael, about gratitude. Say that again.
Nothing new can come into your life without the field of gratitude.
Exactly.
And what they're an example of is energy flows where attention goes.
Right.
Like her attention started going into what she was grateful for, the little things. She started even counting the blessings that this man was bringing into the home, and the energy started flowing in that direction and expanding that whole vibratory field in the home.
Oh, yeah.
See,
wait a minute. Oh, yes, that vibratory field.
Yeah, we're talking code here.
The vibratory field is all vibration. We'll be back in a moment. That's great. That's great. Coming up, can The Secret help you lose weight? I want to know. Okay. We're talking about The Secret. If you haven't heard about it, somebody in your neighborhood, in your office, is going to mention it to you, especially after today. And you get it by going to thesecret.tv?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because after I saw it, I went and got 30 copies.
Did you?
Yes, I did. I paid for it myself. Thank you very much. Linnell has one of the most frequent questions our Secret panel gets asked. And what is that question, Linnell?
For 14 years, I've struggled with taking off baby weight. I'm successful in all areas of my life. I have a wonderful husband. I have a son. But when it comes to the weight, it's the mental piece that I just can't seem to take that light bulb and make it switch and stay on. How do I apply this principle in this weight journey? For 14 years, I've not been able to do it.
Well, now, let me speak to that because I know a little bit about where you are and what you're doing. First of all, you're healthy. Your doctor tells you you're healthy.
Yes, he does.
Are you grateful for that?
I'm grateful for that.
See, I want you to start every single day waking up and saying thank you for the health I have. And I want you to begin saying, I love my legs because they're working functionally. I love my arms. I mean, it may seem trite, but I want you to start to love your body and be grateful for it, for the way it is right now. And then stop dieting, because diets don't work.
You'll attract
They don't.
the weight back.
Choose to become healthy and whole. Okay? Instead of losing weight and saying, I want to get rid of this, choose to become healthy and whole. Now, does that feel different to you?
That feels very different, because I've never thought about it that way.
Absolutely.
Gratitude, and your outcome is healthy and whole. And you continually focus on your health and your wholeness every single day, and you'll attract more and more health and wholeness to you.
And if I can add something, because I relate to you personally. So I'm going to ask you a question. Do you believe you have a right to have the body, the size, the look that you want? Do you believe in your core of cores that you have that right? That's the question.
Okay.
You see how you pause?
Yeah.
That's the question. You have to begin.
Yes.
I say yes. I've never thought about it like that.
So now think about it. Do you have the right now, make the decision. Do you have the right? Are you ready for it? Are you ready to look in the mirror and love every inch, every pound, spin a couple of times and love it? Are you ready for it? Are you ready to wear that piece of special something for your husband and know, like without a shadow of a doubt, he loves what he sees?
Yes.
Are you ready for that?
I'm ready for that, yes.
Focus on that to the exclusion of anything else.
And you haven't done anything, so what are you willing to do? Be outrageous for you.
Okay.
See, you serve everyone else, right? Am I right, sis?
You got that
you
right.
You serve everyone else. So make 2007
about now.
Showing up in the now for you. So repeat after me.
Okay.
I choose
today
to give myself
the
best life ever.
The best life ever.
Michael says the universe has more than enough to give to everybody who asks. And when you say it like that, people are like, well, I'm asking, I'm not getting it.
Well, people have a tendency to believe in lack, limitation, and scarcity. They may say, I want a beautiful life, a magnificent life full of love and harmony and prosperity, but underneath there's a belief in scarcity.
They believe in what I was saying earlier. If I can just make it to the end.
If I can make it to the end of the week, if I could just survive, I could just make it.
Yeah.
We live in a, you know, for lack of a better word, a multidimensional universe. Everything is energy. Energy is never destroyed, never created, and it becomes exactly what you put your attention on. And there's enough for everyone. So with that awareness, it eliminates competition, eliminates stealing, eliminates people plundering other people's stuff, eliminates jealousy, envy, greed, because there's enough good on this planet for every single being.
How did you come to that?
That awareness?
Considering where you came from. You were selling drugs to people at one point.
Well, you know, I came up in the age where marijuana didn't seem to be that bad a thing.
Yeah.
And so, being entrepreneurial as I was, it started off as just a little bit for myself, became thousands and thousands of dollars a week, and people working for me in Atlanta, Nashville, New York, and Los Angeles.
Wow.
And but it was at the same time I was having a spiritual awakening. I actually died in a dream, and when I woke up, I could see things very differently. I could see that we were surrounded by this presence that I called love beauty that was everywhere.
Love what?
Love beauty.
Love beauty.
The presence loved me at my core, totally and completely, and it was the most beautiful, it was beyond description. And this presence is everywhere. Most people say that God or the presence is in everything, but in truth, everything is in the presence. And that totally changed my life.
Okay, let me get with that for a moment. Everything is in the presence.
Right.
Got it.
Let me just say this, that the whole concept of dying, he had to die.
Yeah.
It's in order to hold on to something new, you have to be ready or willing to let go of something old.
Right.
And most people want more without letting go. I tell people, if you want new great things in your hands, what's currently filling your hands?
For something new to live.
What do you say about that, Jack?
I say totally the same thing. If I'm holding on to my ex-husband, I'm mad at him, my hands are busy with my ex-husband, people come into my life and go, she's not available for a man in her life. There's already a man in her life.
Yeah.
And so you have to let go of the past, let go of your old thoughts, let go of your old jobs. All kinds of things have to be let go of.
And we've held on to our stories for a long time. But people tell me all the time at workshop, Lisa, but you don't know my story. I don't want to know it. I don't want to know it because you've used it to keep you where you are.
Okay.
And if you're ready to move forward, then be ready to let that go. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. It doesn't mean they were right. It just says I'm ready to allow this simply to be a part of my history.
To let go.
To let go and move and
free
release.
myself for what is to come.
Exactly.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
And I'll save that thought. Everything that we've been talking about today, it's on the DVD and it's in the book The Secret. And you can go to thesecret.tv and get your own copy. Watch it with your children. I think this would be amazing to start your children with this kind of thinking. Don't you, Rhonda? Yeah.
Totally. The great thing with children is that when they watch the DVD, or when they hear The Secret, whichever way it happens, they straight away, they're just like, oh, okay, so you ask?
They get it.
Oh, okay, you ask. Okay, I'm asking.
So let's go through the 3 steps. You ask.
Ask, believe, receive.
Yeah.
And believe is kind of getting you out of the way.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people try to make things happen.
Yeah.
And your job is not that. Your job is to ask once, only once, because if you're asking twice, then you don't have faith.
Then you don't believe.
And you don't believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
And
also,
then
I
just
think,
believe and feel good.
I think also what James said is so important because unless you attach action to it, it's all kind of like, woo, you know.
But, Sprinkle fairy dust.
So how can people today begin to live the life they deserve?
When you talk about action, you're talking about walking in the direction of what you want.
Yes.
Now, there's parts of your body and your mind that don't know the difference between a real action and a symbolic action.
Right.
So if you do something every single day that tells you that you're walking in that direction, your mind will pick it up that you're really serious, and there'll be an energetic match to that. And then you'll find yourself compelled into right action. You'll be guided to do things that before you're wondering, why am I doing this? And you discover you're being pulled down a path to meet the right people. There are opportunities being created. There's energy flow that's happening. But action is a key.
And you know what's really key in that action is to come from a heart space of providing value and service to the world. Not necessarily I'm going to get my goal, but here I put my intention out here, and now as I move forward, I'm providing value. It's not if you build it, they will come, necessarily. It's if you build it and it provides value, they will come.
Yeah.
And so it's that heart space, not what can I get, but what can I give and how can I serve? And when you're in that moment, the universe lines up behind you, and it's at your command.
I think that's a big question. If I was to say, what would be the thing you could do today to change your life, it would be, how can I serve?
How can I serve?
How can I use my life in service?
That is the question.
Yes.
And it's important to create, for me, create visuals. I love visuals to remind me of who I am, of where I'm going, of what I want. I created a visualization board. And I just put on it the things that I really wanted.
That's your board?
Oh, yes, that's my board.
Your board.
And
They use my body over there.
Right.
Okay, who's that in the corner?
Okay, that's my love corner. Okay, wait.
Okay, I see Jamie Foxx in there.
Right. Well, listen, I want to focus on another part.
Okay.
When they took the board, I said, "You gonna show the whole thing?"
The whole board.
Right in the center. I don't know if they can close up on it, but I cut out the words "Lisa tells all" on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Right there.
There it is. There it is. We'll be right back. James was saying what? What were you saying? You did the same thing
I did
Lisa
the same thing 6 years ago as Lisa did, put it out into the universe. I was going to be on this show. And the action I took was to work on me, to become a better me, to get to grow more, to learn more, to serve more, to provide more value. And guess what? You guys called me.
Right.
We call you.
This stuff.
Works.
Like, my office is like, Harpo's on the phone. I mean,
No. James. No. Okay. That's great. And did you say, oh, I knew they were going to call.
It worked. What took you so long?
What took you so long? Who are the people who hadn't heard of The Secret before today?
here's what I want you to do. I want you to sit down. I want you to write down all the benefits of your current life that you have. And you have to get at least 50. Yeah, you promised. You promised, okay? And then...
Start with breathing. I'm breathing.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Say to yourself, I'm available to more good than I've ever experienced, realized, or imagined before in my life.
What is it again? I'm going to say that. I am available.
I am available to more good than I've ever experienced, realized, or imagined before.
Wow! Can we get back to the energy thing?
Yeah.
Can we get back to how you draw your own energy?
Okay.
It's like, so we're all energy.
Right, we're all energy.
Sort of like radio waves, dialing up the right
I mean, you
station.
put us under a high-powered microscope. We're a field of energy and a rate of vibration. And so everything has a frequency or a vibration. This stage, your body, everything has a frequency.
Right.
And so vibrationally, what happens is that like vibrations are attracted and dissimilar ones are repelled. Now, when you're in harmony in your life, you can feel that in your body, true? When you're in disharmony, you can feel that as well.
Yeah.
And so going back...
So the law of attraction works on the physical as well as the metaphysical?
It's the... Yes, it's the...
So the physical...
Tangible and the intangible.
The tangible and the...
It's the feeling. And we feel our feelings in our body. A friend of mine was just in Tibet for 23 days asking these Tibetan monks, why do you do, what's happening when you're praying? Why the bells? Why the incenses? It's all designed to give us a feeling in the body. We call love, we call compassion, we call inner peace. And as you raise your vibration, all the good stuff in the universe is vibrating at a high level. That's why we say we're moving up, moving on up.
Yeah,
you know? And so to get there, you have to first create that vibration inside of you, and then the good stuff is attracted to where it vibrates.
So would you say that higher vibrational frequency people
it's brighter.
have brighter auras?
The more conscious you are,
Brighter light, more conscious.
the greater and more attractive you are.
Exactly.
And I don't mean physically attractive per se, but attractive to the world. As you begin to advance your consciousness, there's nothing more important that you can invest in than the advancement of your consciousness. Nothing. Because as you continually advance your consciousness and expand your awareness, you realize many of the things we're talking about here is that the universe is perfect.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's loving. And it's always to serve you. And so here's something. If you can get this today, when you have less than pleasing results in your life, it really is a disservice to get mad or upset, because that's a perfect universe reflecting back to you who you are and going, hello, you know, it's your 75th marriage.
Wake up.
Are you going to wake up? You know? I mean, wait, what's, you know, hello, you're broke for the 30th time. You know, hello, please wake up. And when we get mad, then we project outward that it's out here, but it's not out here, it's in here. And when we shift in here, then we begin to shift the out there.
Michael said something earlier. He talked about there's a spiritual journey and there's an action journey. And most of us have been trained to do actions to create results. Right. And the fact is, it's the spiritual vibration you rise to that's the much more important work. One of my friends said, they've done calculations of this, that working on yourself inside, visualizing, he said, genie. The word imagine, I'm a genie. And when I imagine, I'm raising my vibration to feel the feelings I'd have if I already had the thing I want in my life. And so,
there are
as we raise the vibration
wishes from the genie.
Then the physical shows up.
They tell us there's three.
More than I
they're
realized,
unlimited.
I'm available to more good than I've ever realized, imagined, or experienced before in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Hi.
Hi. I, like you, I've been living kind of the secret principle since well before I knew it had any kind of label.
This is Hal Sparks.
Such. Yeah, I'm Hal Sparks.
Hal Sparks.
Musician.
And, actor, comedian.
And when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time balling up energy. What I would find out later when I studied martial arts was basically chi energy. Sending my energy out in the world and going, bring it back to me, what I want. I was standing on a little farm in Kentucky going, whatever plane I saw flying over, I want to be on it. Now, I travel probably 200 days a year. Every movie I saw, I wanted to be that person, and I do that now. I'm a comedian because I made my family laugh. I was doing it already.
Right.
In the context I was in. I used to do rock concerts for my cats on the porch, and now I have a band and we tour. The point is, I never let the impossibility of it, the statistical, illogical aspect of it happening, get in my way. I never felt like it applied to me, and it never has.
Right.
And it won't.
That's your law.
Thing. Yeah.
That is your personal law that you've activated.
Right. And that's the law of attraction. You have to, I used to say to be a success in the business, you have to be arrogant and stupid. Because arrogant in the beginning, because who's going to want to listen to you? Yeah. You don't know that for a fact until they do. Then it's confidence. But in the beginning, it's arrogance. And you have to be stupid enough to think that 90% of actors never work, but you're going to be part of the 10%. That's kind of stupid. But it works. It's very helpful to focus on that part of yourself that goes, I can no matter what. These rules that other people set up don't apply.
You're
so
right.
you believed. You believed.
I believed. And the ridiculous stuff, and this is what I want to talk about with Jack's thing, was the wave that you send out with the positive thought reaches farther than just your family will be nicer to you. It's nuts. I travel all over the world, and I'm going, you know, I really need a good producer, and bing, I meet him. I meet him in the next town.
Yeah.
At dinner that night.
It's accelerating now for you, probably,
exactly.
isn't it?
Exactly. Faster and faster.
It happens to me all
The expansion of
time.
time. As you grow and expand, it accelerates.
Really
It happens. Does it happen to you? It happens to me all the time.
Oprah, I have to tell you this.
It works for everything. If I say,
I was going to say one last thing.
Go ahead. Okay, good.
This is my girlfriend Sam.
Hi, Sam.
We dreamt each other up.
Oh, that's a great title.
We kind of said, what do you want? What do you really want to have in your life? What's the best case scenario? Not what do you got and where are you and I could be, and maybe if I have a checklist, I'll get 7 out of 10 and they'll be okay. What do you want? And she showed up, and she's amazing, and I love her. And that's what I am for her. And how's she going to meet me? She lived in Connecticut. I live in L.A. It doesn't happen. But once you put that out there, the ripple effect, as long as you don't get in the way, brings it all back to you.
Well, that's the key point right there.
Don't get in the way.
Stay out of the way of the flow.
Right.
That's why we don't resist.
And you get in the way. You get in the way by saying, why don't I have it?
Right.
Why don't I have it?
That contracts you and holds it at bay. May I say one more off of what you said, because this is so brilliant. He said you have to be stupid, right?
Yeah.
Let me encourage all of you, do not share your dreams with very many, if any, people, unless you are absolutely guaranteed they're going to support you. I had peers in our industry tell me, you will never be on Oprah. You're not mainstream enough. I said, baby, I'm the new mainstream.
Let me tell you a really good story about being stupid. There's a guy...
Jack has a lot of them.
No, I do. I attract them because of my own stupidity. No, what happens is there's a guy shows up in Australia to race. His name's Cliff Young. He's 61. It's a 6.5 day race, 650 kilometers. And everyone is like 25, 30, and they're all going, are you crazy? Have you ever run a long-distance race before? He said, no. He says, why do you think you can do this? He says, well, I'm a farmer. I chase my cows around sometimes for a day to get them all herded up, and I always wanted to run a race. So they start the race, and everyone goes running off really fast, and Cliff's kind of just shuffling along really slow. And all of a sudden, everyone's going, this guy's crazy. But see, he had an advantage. The advantage was he was stupid. He didn't know. He'd never read Runner's World magazine. He didn't know you're supposed to run 18 hours and sleep for 6. So what happened, by the time he caught up with everyone else, they were all asleep. He ran right by them. He ran nonstop because he didn't know you were supposed to sleep.
Yeah, you keep raising your hand. Thank you. Thanks, Howard. Yes, hi.
Hi, Oprah.
Hi. No, go ahead.
Wow, you're good. Hi, I'm Suzanne Huang, and I just had to tell you that, thank you. As soon as I saw The Secret, I remember seeing you on a show talking about how when you read Marianne Williamson's Return to Love, you bought 1,000 copies of it and gave it to everyone. Well, I bought 100 copies. I spent $3 grand and sent 100 copies to everyone that I know, including you, and I sent it to you. And
yours was the first one.
Yes, Libby
Yours
Moore.
was, Libby Moore brought it into me, and she said, this woman brought you
which gave me goosebumps, right? And so, and I thought to myself, I bet everyone assumes that Oprah's seen it, so no one's sending it to her. I'm not going to assume that. I'm going to send it to her anyway.
Yours was the first one. I then had yours, and then
a bunch of other things,
people came in,
right? And so I heard that you were doing a show about The Secret, and I found out when, and I hadn't really gotten any confirmation from anyone here that I could even come today, but because of the law of attraction, I decided to postulate that I would book a flight and book the hotel myself, and I didn't even have a ticket. And the morning of my flight, I got a phone call from your producer, Terry Golder, saying that, you know, I was welcome to come. And I just have to tell you that in my magical creation box, which is the same as a vision board, there's a picture of you in there. And I was like, I'm going to meet this woman. And I had no idea it was going to be through The Secret. And I also had to tell you that...
this is Suzanne Wong, who's host of House Hunters on HGTV. Everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She also has a reoccurring
Las Vegas.
I have a little part on the show Las Vegas, which is really fun too. But last night when I decided to check into the Omni Hotel because I've watched your show forever, and at the end it's like guests of the Oprah Winfrey Show. So I'm like, I'm going to stay at the Omni Hotel, right?
say the beautiful
Yes,
omniscient.
exactly. So I'm checking in, and as I'm standing there, I'm standing right behind Lisa Nichols and Jack Canfield, and I'm thinking, ooh, girl, you must be vibing high, because they're standing right there, right? So I introduced myself to them, and they let me come to dinner with them last night. I'm sitting at dinner at a table for 10. They had a table for 10 with 9 people. It was as if there was a chair waiting there just for me, and that's all because of this law of attraction. I also have to tell you how excited I am for this episode to air, because I
When
just
does
feel...
this air, y'all?
I hope we find
When
out
does this
soon.
air?
I got to tell everybody.
Dean?
Don't
know.
No. Well, we'll find out. But here's the thing.
Don't know yet. Okay.
Here's what I
It's a
know.
secret.
It's a secret. Oprah, I know. What I knew is that in the last few months, I've thought to myself, I have to do something to raise the vibrational frequency of the whole planet. What am I going to do? And then I watched this movie, and I thought, if I can get this to Oprah, if Oprah watches it, she will love it. And if she loves it, she's going to do a show about it. And what she says, America just flocks to, and then that raises the vibrational frequency of the planet and then the world. So thank you.
Yeah. I know your note said that. And you know how many things we get here? Do you know how much stuff comes in here?
Yes, I know.
Yeah, cool-side pictures of myself.
And you know, Libby Moore had just watched the movie over the weekend. She comes in the next day and happens to open my package to you.
I know. That's
After
how it
a month
happened.
and a half, you get so much mail. It took a month and a half for her to get to my package.
But see, I want to reinforce exactly what she did, which is the action piece that I talk about. She got the plane ticket. She got the hotel. She didn't know she was even going to get on the show. She put it, and she took the action anyway, then got the phone call.
If I could, I want to share. We talk about when you raise your consciousness, things come to you
How
quicker.
do you raise your vibrational frequency? Well, finish your story, and then we'll talk about that. How do you do that?
Night before last, I was packing to come here, and Tina Yee, who's amazing, had shared with me some of what was going to be shared on the show and some questions, and I had never talked about my weight publicly. It was like, you don't get to talk about that. And I hadn't done it like this, not on this level. I did my workshops, but it's 43 million, 49 million. That's a different level. So I was really thanking God and being in gratitude about the opportunity to touch someone else's life. So I can move out of any fear that was coming up, because my self was going, And I only had one CD out because I just moved, and everything else was in boxes, which was Kirk Franklin's latest CD. And his latest CD is very revealing about his life, and he talks about having a lot of sex, looking for love. He talks about, doing drugs in the church parking lot. And he just says it's all okay. The song is called Shout, Shout, Let It All Out. These are the things I can live without, and I'm okay with who I am. It's all good.
I need that CD.
Oh, it's the bomb. It's the bomb. So I'm listening to the CD, and tears are streaming down my face, tears of gratitude, and I'm just packing, and thank you so much, Kurt. Thank you so much, Kurt. And the next morning, I'm at LAX. I'm standing in the security line, and I look behind me, and it's Kirk Franklin. And I said, that's not Kirk. Come on, God, come on. And he walked by one time, I didn't say anything. He walked by a second time, I was like, no. He walked by a third time. I was like, okay. So I go up to him, and I don't really intrude on people's privacy, especially public people, because, they want some privacy. I said, I apologize, and I told him I was on my way here, and I told him about what I was going to share, and I was a little, I'm making myself comfortable, and I want to thank you and acknowledge you for sharing it on the CD, because you helped me last night, on your CD. And he looked at me, and his eyes teared up, and he goes, thank you, I needed that. And he goes, I'm going to call my wife right now and tell her to watch the show. And it was just really great. Like the day after, Kirk Franklin in LAX.
That's how it works. That happens to me all the time.
And the thing is, the more you notice it and acknowledge it, the faster and more often it happens. Because what you focus on expands.
Yeah.
Keep saying
so
that,
is it because your vibrational frequency goes higher that it happens more?
Well, you become more and more aware. And that's, if I can use an analogy, imagine that this is muddy water. And if you start to pour crystal clear water into it, at some point in time, it's going to displace the muddy, and so you'll have clean water.
Clear water.
Well, here's what you need to do to continually become more aware is you have to, and I've had the blessed opportunity to study with many indigenous traditions and in the Andes Mountains and the jungles of the Amazon, and the principle is all the same. In all these traditions is you surround yourself continuously with the things that you want to put your focus of energy and attention upon. Now, we live in a world that bombards us with negativity and limitation and lack and tells us what we can't do and what we can't become. And so you have to be vigilant about watching programs of this nature. Watch The Secret over and over again, constantly in your, this is what I did. In my car, I'm constantly listening to something that's going to raise my awareness and consciousness. I'm reading things consistently. You must constantly study, understand, and immerse yourself in the things that are going to bring power and value into your life. And number two, you have to avoid all the things that weaken you. And at some point in time, you get to the point where the things that used to weaken you don't affect you anymore because you've raised yourself enough.
One of my teachers talks about joy is your inner guidance system if you simply keep following the things that bring you joy. Every time someone presents an opportunity to you, you either have an internal, hell yes, I want to do that, or it's like, nah, I don't know. And if it's not a hell yes, it's definitely a no. And so find the things that bring you joy and do those things. Forgiveness. Every morning I start with a forgiveness exercise. I simply close my eyes and I forgive anything I'm aware of that I need to forgive. Then I go to gratitude. What am I grateful for?
Because without gratitude, you cannot clear the way for other things.
Gratitude sends a subtle message. Thank you for all this goodness. Please bring me more.
A friend of ours says he never gets out of bed in the morning until he actually has a tear running down his face in terms of how grateful he is for everything in his life. Because again, it's not the words. You can make a list and be totally numbed out. But if you feel the feeling of gratitude, then
when you have tears, your heart is ignited, you see. And that's the amazing.
That's going back to that vibration in the universe of energy, right? It's that feeling, it's that vibration in the body.
That is so amazing because I feel that all the time.
Right.
Yeah,
it shows
I feel that all the time.
And the higher your vibration, the more teary you get all the time.
And the more
you just, your eyes fill with tears and absolute gratitude.
People would often say, well, sure, Oprah, look at your life. You have a lot to be grateful for. Look at mine. The truth is you got here by being that before, not now.
This is the effect, not the cause.
Form follows consciousness.
Right. Not the other way around.
Right.
And I just want to add another practical tip.
What happened?
No, I was just saying, form follows. I'm just so happy.
You're grateful.
Yeah, grateful.
So the universe keeps giving you more things to be happy for.
When we talk about practices, I know for me, when people ask me a lot, what do you do? Tell me what you do in your day-to-day life. And I lay in bed and talk about the things that I'm grateful for. And then I get in the mirror. And just right after I brush my teeth, I look into my eyes. And I complete 3 sentences each day. One is, I'm proud that you. I just look at me and I'm proud that you, whatever, however so small. You know, in my perfect world, I work out 7 days a week, but if I only did 2, I'm proud that you did your 2. So I celebrate the me that shows up at that moment. I'm proud that you're a single mom and you've never once said one negative word about your son's father to him. He's never heard. I'm proud of that. And so I celebrate the baby steps, and then I celebrate the fact that I'm proud that you told the truth no matter who was going to see it. So there's a prize. So get into the mirror. People say intimacy is about 2 people. And intimacy really isn't. Intimacy is into me, I see. That's true intimacy.
Yes, sir. That's beautiful.
Hi, I'm David Waite, and how are you? I'm thankful for all of you today. Thank you very much. And my wife.
Yeah, great.
I had the pleasure of meeting Rhonda some years ago through a dear friend of mine named Edmund. And it was after I had hosted a children's TV show many, many years ago that did very well. And I kind of kicked myself. I thought I was living the secret. I told Edmund when and he and Rhonda had shared the secret with me many years back. How are you, Rhonda? Good to see you. You're beautiful. You're doing marvelous. That I lived that life. My mother used to put pictures on the refrigerator. She said, this is the house we'll live in someday, and that's the house they live in right now. And various little things like that. So I thought I was living the secret. The show I hosted was a Healthy Mind and Body show, syndicated internationally, and I lived that as a child, too. Healthy mind and body. My father said, don't have to work so hard, David. Have a good balance. Just do it all. Just keep balanced. And the show won an Emmy for Outstanding Children's Programming. Then they canceled it. And I felt betrayed. And I think during this part of my life, I moved down to Jamaica. And I called myself hiding, in a sense, but I said I was working on some things. And during this process, I was learning, thinking I was living the secret, but I was stifling myself. Like you said, Oprah, standing in front of yourself, is that what you said? Yeah. So that's what I was blocking myself. But I knew the talk, knew the walk, and when I had the pleasure of meeting Rhonda, I told her about a show that I produced because I was a little frustrated, and it was only good news, not bad news, not death, destruction, sex, violence, smut, and gore, but the show never went anywhere. And I started throwing out the energy that, well, they're not, you know, I focused on the death, destruction in my spiel of pitching the show. So I was in my way again. And more recently, seeing The Secret. I enjoy the good things in life. My wife is fabulous. I've got 4 beautiful babies. I live a nice life, yet I haven't quite reached where I think I should. So when I saw The Secret, it was like a capsule. All the stuff I've learned all my life, it's like it was put into a capsule. Things you know. I think everybody in this room knows these secrets, but they don't
Practice
know
them.
They don't practice them. They
Yeah.
don't let them in.
Yeah.
And you guys put it in a little capsule. I pop this pill, man, I'm feeling good. And I've got so many wonderful things yet to come that I didn't really realize until more recently. And thank you, Rhonda, again.
That's wonderful. And on that note, I say, enjoy your copies of The Secret. I thank you all for being here today. We've done. Email after email after email. Viewers wanted to talk about The Secret. Well, even if you missed last week's show, this is a must-see today because The Secret is a book and it's a DVD that really is touching a nerve around the world. The timing, I believe, is just perfectly right. I feel it that so many people are hungry for guidance and meaning in their lives. And The Secret offers some of that. It is the law of attraction. It says that the energy, that the thoughts and the feelings that you put out into the world, both good and bad, are exactly what is always coming back to you. So you have the life that you have created. I've been talking about this for years on my show. I just never called it The Secret. But it's what this show is all about and has been about for 21 years, taking responsibility for your life, knowing that every choice that you've made has led you to where you are right now. Well, the good news is that everybody has the power, no matter where you are in your life, to start changing it today. We have some secret teachers. Dr. Michael Beckwith from the Agape Spiritual Center in Los Angeles, and James Arthur Ray, author of The Science of Success. They are back to talk about our favorite subject. So, it's an exciting time. What kind of response did you get to the show?
The response was overwhelming. On my personal name on the website, I got over 1 million hits.
And so what does this mean that this many people have responded? Because that's what happened. We almost, we have a pretty strong website, but was almost overwhelming to our website, the number of people who clicked with it.
I think people are really seeking to come out of a sense of victimhood. They know that something may not be right in their life, or they want to be better, and they want to begin to take more dominion over their life.
Yeah.
So I think us talking about the law of attraction, talking about these universal spiritual principles, allow them to see that they can begin to govern their thoughts and their way of life.
Yeah, but I wanted to say that you both, obviously, because you have this church with 10,000 members who locally come to your church trying to get a seat, and you wrote The Science of Success, you obviously have been practicing and knew about these principles, these spiritual principles and laws for a long time. So how does science back it up, James?
Well, science tells us that everything is energy. And so your thoughts are energy, your body, your house, your car, everything you think is solid. If you put it under a high-powered microscope, it's just a field of energy and a rate of vibration.
And so are we.
And so are we. And so if you think you're this meat suit running around, you have to think again, you're a field of energy and a larger field of energy.
Right.
And like attracts like. And that's very, very scientific.
It's like the radio waves, like tuning into the radio wave, right?
That's a great metaphor.
Exactly.
Because go ahead, Michael.
The frequency you give out through your thoughts and your emotions and what you have a tendency to manifest in your life. Whether those thoughts and emotions are unconscious or conscious, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And the rub is that a lot of the things that we're putting out are totally unconscious.
Correct.
And they're like a minimized program. If you can imagine, you've got a Word document up on your screen and you get tired of it, so you go up in the corner, you click it, and it comes this little icon in the corner. You think it's gone, but it's not gone. It's still there. It's taking up energy, and the same is true with our thoughts and our feelings and our experiences, our beliefs. They're pulling into our lives repeatedly things again and again, and that's why people sometimes have repeated results, and they say, oh, my God, why me?
Yeah.
Because it is you.
Because it is you.
Yes.
It is you with whatever the problem is, wearing another pair of pants or skirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same guy, different hair, different names, but it's the same guy I was with 3 years ago.
Right.
Well, what's the common denominator here? Right.
You.
Yeah.
You.
Right.
So Amanda Feigner says that her life dramatically changed within 24 hours after seeing the show that we just aired last week. So let's watch this. After 16 years, Amanda and her husband Mark say they were ready to separate.
We weren't even going to talk about it anymore. We weren't even going to go to counseling.
That's when Amanda saw Beverly and Carlton on our show about The Secret.
I took a look at what it is about my husband that I was grateful for instead of looking at the things that I was starting to resent.
I had to step back and look at myself and realized I didn't like myself. That's when I realized I have to talk to my husband. One thing just led to another, and the dam burst, and there we were, just talking and talking. In that moment, we really realized that both of us had just been achingly sad. I think that we have a miraculous chance of moving forward and having a great life together.
So what was it that exactly clicked for you on that show?
Forgiveness. You have to not only forgive situations, but yourself for what you drag around with you.
Yeah.
Everything's a ball and chain if you let it get that way.
The ultimate moment was when you realized the reality of your life was something that you had created.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was totally responsible for that and what I was emitting. And it was really bad. It was very toxic in that respect.
Isn't it true that most people focus on the wrong things?
They do. Most people focus on what they don't want. I mean, I find that we have attention deficit disorder when it comes to the things that we choose to create in our life, what we desire and deserve. We have attention surplus when we are focusing on the things that we don't want. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be unhappy. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to, all those kinds of things.
Another way of saying that is the universe doesn't care what you want. It's only responding to what you're interested in. So when you're saying, I don't want this to happen, or I don't want that to happen, your interest is on that. So you're actually using the law in reverse.
I have another way of saying it, is that what you focus on expands.
Absolutely. Right.
That what you give your attention to always gets bigger, regardless of what it is. Right?
Energy flows where attention goes.
Yeah. Maureen Boyle has a question that many people wanted answered. Where's Maureen? Hi, Maureen. Stand up. Hi.
Oprah. My question was, I was watching the show last week, and I thought this might be something that was good for my family, and I wanted to show it to my family. And my husband and I, we're Christians, and our kids are Christians, and we teach our children to put their faith in God. And it seems that The Secret teaches you to put your faith in yourself. And so I was wondering if God anywhere in this.
Great question.
Great question. Is God anywhere involved? Absolutely. What The Secret is telling you is about the laws of the universe that to a limited degree describe the nature of how God works. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, changeless. And so these laws are a limited description of the presence of God. Now, when you study the prophet, Jesus, the Christ, he used the language, he said, pray believing that ye have, that ye may receive. That's the secret in a nutshell. Pray believing and feeling and sensing that you already have it, and then you're available to receive it. So the secret doesn't contradict any religion. It actually goes underneath the culture and explains to you the sacred laws that these wonderful teachers have brought to us.
But I will say that, I've been on the spiritual path for a very long time, probably since, the mid-'80s. And that was the #1 question I have, because I was raised a Christian. I still am a Christian. And the #1 question I had was, how does all of this, metaphysical thinking, this new way of taking responsibility for my life and co-creating my life with the Creator, how does that mesh with everything that I've been taught? And what I realize is exactly what they're saying, is that it reinforces, because above all else, God gave us free will. He gave us the will to make choices in our life. And what The Secret is saying, and The Secret isn't the only, universal principle, but what universal principles say is you have the free will. Know that the choices that you make will always have a consequence. So choose wisely. That's how it's integrated for myself.
And I did see that Neil Donald Walsh.
Yes, Conversation with God.
In his part on The Secret, he said that you will stand in judgment to no one, ever, now or ever. Basically, what I got out of it was, you can go out and do whatever you want, have fun, enjoy your life, and you won't have to answer to anyone.
No, the thoughts and the actions that you do, the energy that you place out, you experience that. It's not that you go to hell, but the choices that you make, if they're limiting, you feel that limitation. You put yourself in prison. If you make choices that are loving, compassionate, giving, forgiving expression, then you open your life up to greater expression. The way that Jesus described it was, the kingdom of heaven is at hand now. Heaven means ever-expanding good. So the realm of ever-expanding good is always at hand based on the choices that you're making. And everyone is accountable for the things they do or don't do.
This is interesting. I'll tell you this when we come back. I'll go to commercial break. Then I'll tell you. Coming up, she was in debt, single and miserable. See what happened when she put the law of attraction to the test. It's the DVD that so many people are talking about. Last week, we revealed the secret to the world. Millions watched, and thousands of you told us that you were inspired to create a better life.
I've known the secret for 10 years or even longer, and I had the life I wanted and lost it when a plane hit my office building on September 11th. I've spent the last 5 years lost and just trying to keep my head above water. But this show woke me up. I remembered everything once I heard the words laws of attraction. Everything made sense again, and I'm ready to get my life back on track.
So Angela says she had an awakening after seeing our show. She realized that she was stuck reliving, where are you? September 11th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I shut down, but I was moving. I just was surviving. And after I saw the show, or during I saw the show, I immediately started journaling because that was the mechanism that I used to connect my mind's body. You know, because I've known the secret, but it was just too painful to journal. So I immediately started journaling, and I took gratitude. It was the first thing I did, and then the floodgates opened.
Because what Michael Beckwith said about gratitude, did you get that?
What I was bringing to the table was a tired, worn-out survivor, and I knew that. It was the laws of attraction, the energy. That was what I was bringing forward, and it clicked instantly. And I was like, I'd rather bring a different energy to the table, and I just started journaling, and then it all changed.
Would you say again what you said last week about gratitude?
That really nothing new can come into your life without gratitude. So the moment you began to focus on gratitude, you created within yourself the condition for more things to be grateful for to come into your life. Guidance, direction, a whole new attitude.
It created a sense of peace inside of me, and it opened everything.
Yeah.
And that peace was already there. But the filters of the way you were looking through life was blocking you from experiencing it.
But I see her, she's still stuck over there on the judgment, because she was saying that, you know, on your website, you say that Jesus is your teacher, and she said Jesus is your savior, and you were saying that you believe that we're all going to go and you're going to be judged, and there's a hell.
It's just that, yes, I believe there's heaven and hell.
Okay.
May I just give you something to consider?
And I'll come in after.
Okay. Because, and again, I totally honor your belief system, and I would not even begin to ask you to change it. But just consider that Jesus the Christ said the kingdom of heaven is within. He didn't say it was out there somewhere. Within. And so is it possible to consider that the kingdom of hell is within as well? And it's your choice as to what you're going to create and choose.
Okay, I'll let you come in, then I'll come in.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
The kingdom of God is actually within us.
Yeah.
And that what comes out of your mouth, what you think about, how you express, you're either participating in the realm of ever-expanding good, or you're cutting yourself off from the realm of ever.
And those people who are leading negative lives, the kind of people you call jerks, you see every day, those people in their lives, we don't know what's really going on inside them, but in their lives are living the jerkdom that they create.
Yeah, and one other thing, we're not anticipating good. We're not anticipants. We're participants. When you're anticipating some future good, you're preventing that good that is all around you from expressing through you. Life is magnificent. The presence and the power and the love is everywhere in its fullness, and we're discovering ways to participate in that flow rather than to put life on the layaway plan and to try to anticipate that it's going to get good in the future. No, it's happening now.
Sure.
So all of these laws that we begin to practice, they open us up to be a full participant in life.
Yeah. 3 years ago, Lisa Double says that she decided to put the law of attraction to the test.
I remember the fall of 2003 as my dark fall of the soul. I wasn't treating myself well. I was single. I was severely in debt. No longer had a job.
Lisa began to see that a tragedy from the past was holding her back.
I had two sisters who died. They were in an accident when I was 12. So for a lot of my life, I've struggled with feeling guilty. I started reading about the law of attraction. And I learned from that the energy that I put outward is what I would receive. I wasn't putting very good stuff out there.
Lisa started to visualize the life she wanted. Be her own boss, find true love, have children, and create a home. Within weeks, Lisa launched her company.
I started creating some milestones for myself.
Next, Lisa opened herself up to new ways of meeting a man.
And that's when I found him. So he came to pick me up, and I remember opening the door and just looking at him like, you know, I knew that he was the person I was going to marry.
In less than 1 year, Lisa had the life of her dreams.
In early 2004, I started my business. In January of 2004, I met my husband. In May, we bought our house. In June, we got our dog. And in December of 2004, we had our son. I think that our mind is a very powerful thing. I think that, you know, anything is open to you if you believe that you can have it.
Our mind is a very powerful thing. What do you want to say about that?
Absolutely. She used the power of choice. She opened herself up to greater possibilities, and the universe flowed through her in a magnificent way. She had to choose that. She had to come out of the poor me, the victim consciousness. She had to come out of repeating the same old patterns and actually open herself up for another possibility, and the universe matched that. Outstanding story.
Congratulations. That is really...
We're talking about The Secret with Dr. Michael Beckwith and James Arthur Ray. So the question is, how do we begin to have the ultimate life that is possible for ourselves?
The first thing we have to begin to do is to describe the kind of life we want to live. Most people are placing their attention on what they don't want in life. So you have to begin.
So? Give me an example.
I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be broke and poor. I don't want to be lonely. I hope this bad thing doesn't happen to me.
Yeah.
So we have to begin to describe in as much detail as possible the kind of life we want to live.
Yeah. Having the vision to bring what they want into their lives.
Absolutely.
But you need more than to describe it.
Yes.
Don't you? You need more than to see it. Then you need to do something.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the intention. That's what I would call intention. Setting that really clear intention, not asking, not hoping, but intending. This is what I deserve and desire, and I'm going to create this. And then the second thing is attention. You've got to keep your attention upon that. Now, attention is multifaceted. It's feeling the feelings of gratitude, knowing it's coming, knowing it's coming, knowing that you already have an amazing life, and then stepping forward, and this is the scary part, even when you teach this stuff, is to step forward, taking action in the direction of your movement, not where you are currently. But moving forward and saying, okay, if this is who I'm becoming, then what action would I take right now if I was already there?
Yeah. You wanted to say?
When you are trying to attract new things into your life, is it better to focus and put all your energy into one thing until it manifests, or do you just go for it all?
Okay. Great question. First of all, stop trying.
Good question.
Trying is failing with honor. All right? Take the word try out of your vocabulary. You either do it or don't do it first.
Oh, I like that. I like those little disms. Trying is failing with honor.
I mean, check this out. You ask someone to come over to your house for dinner and they go, I'll try. Are they going to be there?
No.
We know they're not going to be there.
They're not showing up.
So don't try. Just either do it or don't do it.
Trying is failing with honor. It takes us a minute to process it. Go on. It's in there. Thank you. Go.
My pleasure.
Trying is failing.
And so here's the second thing. I believe that every single person, and I travel all around the world and speak to thousands and thousands of people, and I know this for sure, that what we really want is something I call harmonic wealth.
Yeah.
And there's 5 key areas, you know, a state of harmony, and wealth is not just money. We think it's money, but I guarantee you can go after the money and get rich. It doesn't mean you'll be wealthy.
Yeah.
Big difference. If you look at the root of wealth, it comes from the same root as well-being.
Yeah.
So harmonic wealth is this harmonic state of well-being in the 5 key areas of your life: financial, relational, intellectual, physical, spiritual.
Yep.
And so in your quest, what I would suggest you do is sit down and say very specifically, what do I choose and intend to create financially, relationally, intellectually, physically, spiritually? And that's a truly wealthy life.
That's big.
When you're going after those, that's real wealth.
Yeah. And a lot of people, what were you saying, don't know what they want. They don't know
what they want.
They don't know the right questions to ask.
They could place an order in a catalog and give more description about what they want when they're ordering an article from a catalog than what they want in their lives.
But that is a great thing. That's a great way to do it, to look up the 5 different...
Financial, relational, intellectual, physical, spiritual. And this is such a common situation.
Because people just say, when you say what I want, they'll say, I just want to be happy.
Right.
But unless you have the harmonic wealth, then you're not.
You're really not. I mean, I know people who have millions and millions of dollars who would give up half their net worth to have as much health as you have today, right? So it's a comprehensive way of living is true wealth and well-being. If you have a hard time coming up with what it is you really choose to create in your life, here's what I'm going to advise you to do, encourage you to do. Write down a whole list of what you don't want. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be overweight. I don't want to be alone. Get it all down. And then there's a law in the universe called the law of polarity. And what you need to do is use that to your advantage. You go down that list of things you don't want, and you say, what's the exact polar opposite of that? I don't want to be broke. What's the polar opposite? Financial freedom. Yeah. That's what you want. I don't want to be overweight. Total health and wholeness. That's what you want. If you'll do that exercise, then you'll get really clear on what it is you desire in your life.
I love that.
You too.
We'll be right back. Be right back. Coming up, a frenzied mom wants to know how to create peace in her home. Next. This is the secret. Last week, we unlocked the secret to creating the life you want. Immediately, our message boards lit up and thousands of emails poured in. Joan Clark from Indiana says the show had a profound effect on her life.
3 years ago, my husband was killed in an automobile accident. He left me a widow with 2 boys. These past 3 years have been very hard. I always asked why. I couldn't get over the grief I was facing and couldn't forgive him for leaving me alone with our boys. And then I saw your show about The Secret.
What did you just say?
Thank you for giving me that experience. It's true forgiveness. When you can get to that point where you can truly say that.
So true forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could have been any different, could have been different.
Yeah, you say, I don't want it to be different because there's so many gifts that came out of that.
True forgiveness is
Thank you for giving me that experience. Thank you for giving me. Yeah.
After hearing that on the show, I realized that I was holding on to something I had to let go of.
Joan, that was a big moment for you. Tell us how so.
Oh, when he said you have to say thank you and thank you for the, and give forgiveness. It was, I wept in my chair. I wept. I sat there and said, oh, I forgive you. I couldn't say that before. I could not tell him that I forgive him for leaving me. I feel so lighter. And a friend of mine even said, I can see it in your face. I can see it in your eyes. It was like this boulder was lifted off of me. But when you said, all you have to do is say, I forgive you and thank you for the experience. I have 2 beautiful, beautiful boys. And I couldn't ask for anything more. But I've been stuck. Like you said, you need that growth. Yeah. And that is where I'm at. I just want to tell you thank you. Like, I could breathe, and I feel like, yes, yeah. And I try to watch you every day.
I think, Michael, you were saying, I think this is powerful, that unforgiveness is really a form of...
It's a form of self-abuse. Because the message to the universe is, I want to keep repeating this experience over and over.
I realized at that point, I realized I was making myself a victim. Yeah. And stuck in the grief of not being able to let go. He was my best friend. We were together for 18 years. So it was like I couldn't let go. And it was just...
Being unwilling to forgive is like drinking poison expecting the other person to die, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and I felt like it wasn't whole anymore.
Oh, say that again. I like that.
Being unwilling to forgive is like drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. See, ultimately, you don't forgive for the other person. If they accept it, that's great. It's wonderful. But if they don't, you forgive for you because you release that toxic energy from your body and you move forward.
But until you said that, I wasn't looking at it that way. I was looking in another perspective. And it wasn't until you and Michael and Lisa, when they said during that show, it was just like you spun me 360 degrees and it was just like, bam.
Well, you were willing to go there. You were willing to go there.
Joan, thank you, because that is my favorite moment. That is the reason why I continue to do television, because I don't need any more shoes. I don't. It's to have a moment like that where somebody like yourself is watching. Didn't know you before this moment, and you say, I never thought of it that way before.
Exactly.
That's the point of this show.
And I want to be able to help somebody else. That's my new purpose. Is I want to be able to help someone else. Yeah. Not be where I have been.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yeah. Hi.
This is also powerful, and when you are in this room, you can feel the energy, and it just makes so much sense. My question is, how do you carry this with you every day when you're faced with situations that make you revert back to your old patterns or things? It's very easy to say, yes, I see it, but how do you do it?
Yeah. We're talking here about a way of life.
Yes.
So the moment you walk out of here, you begin to ask yourself the question, what is it that I can do to anchor the insights that I've had here? So right now, what insight has occurred in your mind right now? Out of everything that's been shared, what was your aha moment?
I have 3 young kids. I feel like life is hectic. I want a more peaceful home. I want, and so you think about that, and yes, it makes sense, and I just have to think about wanting that and work towards it. But
so you want to begin in this moment to begin to describe your home as you want it to be, not as it is now. You begin to write that description down, look at it every single day, and then ask, what step can I take to bring this into manifestation? What do I need to do to bring this into manifestation? What we're talking about is not magical thinking. We're not talking airy-fairy concepts.
We're not even thinking positive thinking.
No, it's not even positive thinking. It's affirmative realization through right action. So you are to create a practice that you do every single day until it becomes so a part of you that you're not thinking about it anymore.
Right.
Yeah. And also,
and you
doesn't
build
it
habits that way?
Doesn't it also come with understanding that these are, principles, laws. It's the way the universe is moving, the direction in which the universe is moving, whether you know that or not.
Mm-hmm.
The laws have been in existence long before anybody heard of The Secret or before that videotape. So understanding, for me, understanding that the laws are true, that it really does work, that this is a way, what I've figured out is that you can struggle against the current of your life, or you can figure out what the current is, the flow of your life, and turn around and be carried, literally carried from one level to the next in your life. You don't have to, when I see people struggling and so many difficulties all the time, I go, turn around and find your flow.
Right.
Find your flow.
This is not about acquisition. It's not about getting, it's about letting. You're allowing to shine. You're allowing the energy to come forward. You're allowing the gifts to emerge. You're allowing your real self to express.
And isn't it true that if you're struggling, you're moving in the wrong direction?
If you are struggling, you're blocking the flow of life.
Here's something. The ancients tell us that when we hear a truth, there's a seed of truth within us that resonates with. Whether we consciously can grasp it or not, there's a seed of truth. And here's something you know. Life was not meant to be a struggle. You know that because every great teacher, sage, and saint who's ever walked our planet has told you in one way, shape, or fashion, life was meant to be joyously abundant.
And also you know because when you hear the truth, everybody who has heard something or whatever it is resonated, those of you who saw the show and reacted, there's a part of it that resonates with you that you say, I know that.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's what the aha moment is. It's a moment of recognizing that, remembering that that's what you always knew. Okay, so we're here talking about The Secret, such an amazing reaction to the show that we did last week, and your response was?
Yeah, my question is, the principles that are taught in The Secret, how can we use them more globally to make changes as far as war and poverty and hunger and worldwide problems?
My whole approach is using Mother Teresa's quote. And you may have heard this. You know, they ask her, hey, we're going to have a march against war. Will you be there? And she says, no. But if you have a march for peace, I'll be there. You see, a war on terrorism is feeding terrorism.
Yeah.
It's feeding the very monster that we're trying to ameliorate, and we're not going to, a war on drugs is not going to take away drugs. What we've got to do is flip that and say, let's begin a movement for peace.
Yeah. Don't you all who follow The Secret see the difference in just in the way the media frames it, what a different world we would have if all of those, banners were seeking peace instead of the attack on terrorism, the hard on terrorism. You see, it's the languaging that our actions then follow the languaging.
Yeah, there was Ernest Holmes had a very powerful quote. He said, wouldn't it be wonderful if a group of people arrived on Earth that were for something and against nothing? And so this is what James is talking about. You begin to speak about what you're for and walk in that direction. Now, one of the things that The Secret or these sacred laws talks about is there really isn't any scarcity in this particular universe, in the universe period. But that thought form of scarcity creates competition, greed, envy, jealousy, and on a national scale creates war.
Yeah.
And so when you look out upon the world, you see all of these what looks like different events, but they're all connected by the thought form of lack and scarcity. That does not exist. When that begins to be eliminated, then we're on our way to using these principles.
We will never have peace until we have peace inside of ourselves.
Yeah.
You see, when people talk about world peace, I say there is world peace in my world. And well, James, you're Pollyanna. No, I'm not at all. It's just that I choose to observe different things.
Yeah. You understand.
This is exciting.
This is exciting.
It is.
You know, I going back way back in the conversations where it was commented that we are in instead of God is in us, but we are in.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's such a huge concept to me. And again,
That we are in God?
yes, that I never thought about it like that in a million years. And it just tripped my trigger when that happened because it really did. And I think that's really kind of why I felt like I
live,
struck.
move, and have our beingness in the presence. The presence is
I didn't feel
omnipresent.
separate anymore.
That's why I
you
love
know?
science now.
That's huge if that could do that for you.
Yeah.
It did. I said I woke up feeling new. I felt powerful. And
That one statement tripped you?
just that
Pulled you right out of the illusion.
right out completely right. And I mean, leading up to that show, I was deeply depressed, unemployed, and you know the list goes on of my train wreck life, and an about face, an instant about face.
Wow.
I mean, I just feel so inspired. It's like.
That's a quantum leap.
Yes,
That's a quantum leap.
Yeah.
This was a birth for me.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it was a birth and a birth with fanfare at the Oprah show. You know, what a great birth.
Okay, we'll be right back. Be right back. Coming up, how to deal with friends and coworkers who are jealous of your success. What do you want to say? Hi. Yeah.
My question was that with the book, we were talking about competition. On the flip side of that, we talked about creation. And I know in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, there are a few people that have been able to create things that have added significant value to the world, such as yourself, Oprah, and as well as Bill Gates with Microsoft, and a number of things you've done. How did you get there?
Okay, good.
How did
You
get
love
there?
it. I love it too.
this
Go
topic.
ahead.
And Oprah's a great example of this. And, you know, who competes with Oprah? Nobody. Who competes with Disneyland? Nobody. I mean, Bill Gates doesn't compete with anybody. He, in his garage, got into the creative mindset. And it's what I said on the last show. How can I provide value? How can I serve? If you come
Keyword, serve.
Serve.
That is the most
That is the
powerful
question
word.
I ask of myself and have been asking myself probably since my early 20s. Is God use me?
Yes.
God use me
Yes.
for a purpose greater than myself. Use my life for something greater than I know. How can I be used to serve? And if you ask that question and allow yourself to follow not just your creative mindset, but what is your passion? Everybody I've ever known who's been tremendously successful was successful because they did what they love. Nobody, including myself and Bill Gates, know him personally, was trying to make money.
Right.
We're not trying to have the great money. I have more
That's
money
the
than
added thing.
I ever imagined. That's the big bonus because, you know, Psalms 37:4 says, delight thyself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. And what I ended up with was more desires than I knew I had. You know? It's true. And shoes too. And shoes to boot. So you have to follow what is the thing that gives you your juice. And then,
and there's no competition.
And there's no competition.
There's
Because you could do that better than
You're only
anybody.
competing with yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
I sometimes get sidetracked by the element of the competition or the who do you think you are to have or to do or
This is the deal. Mediocrity always attacks excellence.
Yes.
So whenever you're rising, whenever you're rising,
and everybody hear this. Whenever, yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
say it.
mediocrity always attacks excellence. So if you're going beyond yourself and other people are still staying mediocre, they have an agreement with mediocrity, they're going to attack you. They feel uncomfortable in your presence.
That's right. You all will find this. People are only happy when you're at their level. When you start to exceed their level, they get upset. It makes them uncomfortable. It makes them feel badly about themselves because what they're really thinking is, why aren't I where you are?
Right.
Yeah.
And so for them to support you, they have to admit to themselves, I don't have that amount of courage, and that's too painful.
I love mediocrity, always attacks it.
Always attack. Let me just add one other thing to this, because you asked a very powerful question, how can I get there?
Yeah.
And so, first of all, you recognize the energy that you want to be about. So if you see an artist, Bill Gates or Oprah Winfrey, you do not move into competition. You do not move into, I wish that was me.
No.
Instead,
'cause I got the Oprah thing
you
down.
celebrate.
There's only one. I got that Oprah thing
You
down.
learn to celebrate other people's good.
Yeah.
Every time something good happens to somebody, you celebrate it as if it's your own good.
Yeah.
And therefore, you begin to vibrate with that energy, and now the universe can move through you according to your unique pattern.
Yeah, I remember this the other night. I was watching the Grammys. I swear I can't sing a lick. But when Mary J. Blige won, I thought I won that Grammy.
You did.
I thought I won. I was so happy for her. I thought I won that Grammy.
At a metaphysical level, you did win it.
That's a gift for you.
It is.
By embracing that.
It's exciting, though, when you start thinking this way, when you start operating with these sacred principles, because it's not just, it is the secret and then a lot more.
And more.
And more. When you start that, you will see your life begin to change and will open up to you in ways unimaginable to you.
And it becomes so fun.
Yeah. You're never bored.
Adventure's
I'm looking forward to that.
Well, thank you for saying that. Clarissa Peterson emailed us right after seeing last week's show about The Secret. Tell us your story, Clarissa.
Well, initially when I saw the show, it was by accident, in a way.
Yeah. There are no accidents.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
I went to work that day, like nothing, it was an ordinary day for me. And 20 minutes after my boss came in, called me into his office and decided that I was no longer needed with the company. And gathered my things and left. And I got home and I spoke with my mom about it. It affected me the most because I have a soon-to-be one-year-old son. And just the knowledge to know there's a possibility that I can't take care of him the way that I want to and that I want him to live, it hurt me. And that pain just
caused you to lash out at your boss.
Yes, exactly.
You're not the first person. Go ahead.
So we watched the show and just sitting there, I'm listening and I'm like, oh my God. Hearing everything that's being said, it was amazing. It just made me seriously sit back and think, God, it wasn't him. It was me. He was right. I was negative. It wasn't his fault. I'm happy. I'm okay. I'm happy.
Yes, and anytime you get fired, you should say thank you anyway.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Exactly.
Obviously, you're not supposed to do that. Yeah.
Did write a letter.
Yeah, to your boss.
I wrote a letter to him.
I read that. That's amazing.
I did.
I really
feel good.
congratulate you for that. That's huge.
What'd you say?
Oh.
Happen to have it right here.
Happen to have it.
A portion of it. It reads, today you fired me. When I left, I honestly have to say I had a lot of hate and anger directed at you. I was upset at your reasoning for letting me go. Then I watched the Oprah Winfrey Show, and the topic had mesmerized me. I picked up on some key words used, mainly forgiveness and gratitude. For the things you said to me, I forgive you. And in the same sentence, I hope you forgive me. I was negative, and I should have left a long time ago. I also thank you for it. I wanted to go back to school for a while, and now that I can. Thank you for hiring and firing me.
That's great. We'll be right back.